Hi there, and welcome back to Stubbs Aquatics. In this episode, we're going to be talking about that tank that, you just lost that loving feeling for. It's just not cutting it. It doesn't draw your interest, you're not spending the time with it. And the fish, just aren't holding your interest. It's like a marriage gone wrong. But we're good there. We're good, right? God bless my wife. She puts up with me, I don't know how. Anyways, back to the subject at hand. With my 30-gallon tank here in my bar, it just wasn't drawing my attention anymore. And it's not that I was neglecting the fish, it's just they weren't interesting to me anymore. So I did move them off. So I totally drained it with my shameless plug here, with my Higer gravel and tank cleaner. So now that I've drained that tank, that's when the fun actually starts. Because now you're already planning for what kind of fish you're going to get. So stay tuned and see what all I did. Well, now that the work's done, the fun actually begins. I decided I want a dirted tank because I want to have live plants. So I put a nice level of earth down at the bottom, and I've covered that with gravel. I've cleaned off my plants and I've reused the same plants. I've been careful to sterilize everything to the best of my ability, and now I've just waited my 2-week time period before I introduce the new fish. I'm really excited about these new fish. I've never kept them before. Where I get them, the guy breeds just phenomenal fish, from discus to beautiful German rams, barbs, angels, you name it, this guy breeds it, and he just does a marvelous job. So I'm really excited about going there and picking up these fish for the first time. It's about a 2.5-hour drive, so it's a bit of a drive, but who's not up for a road trip, especially if it's sunny out. This is the 30-gallon tank that the new species are going to go in. You can see my plants are hurting a bit, simply because I moved them all, and they got a little bit dried out, but I'm sure they're going to be okay because the roots are still pretty good. It may take them a week or two to start coming back. I haven't bought any new plants in quite some time, so who knows. If the plants survive and the new species don't tear them apart, I may add more, simply because I do like a planted tank. Now, some of you may notice you'll see a bit of a red tinge. Don't worry, that's not any bizarre algae. When I clean a tank over and change it over to a new tank and new species, what I'll do is I'll use potassium permanganate just to basically nuke the tank. That way there's nothing in the tank that can be passed on to your new fish. It's something I do on a regular basis. I learned that long ago, keeping koi and keeping shabumpkins, just to make sure, and I've never had a problem since. Well, stay tuned as we hopefully introduce the new species real soon. My wife and I took a road trip to see Michael from Fish EZ. He's a master breeder of so many different fish. Me personally, I love barbs. I've been watching Michael for some time now.
Geez, that sounds a little bit creepy and awkward.
I watched as he had bred the parents of these beautiful fish, and I've been following them as they grow. I contacted Michael, and I made arrangements to buy virtually the entire tank of them. As you may know by now, I have a bit of a thing for barbs. These barbs are checkered barbs, or checker barbs. Now, these are just very young, just several weeks old, but already they're starting to develop patterns. I mean, these guys are just incredible. Look at the dark in them and the pattern forming. It's astonishing that he's able to breed these with that much success.
These fish have only known a bare bottom tank. See, they were born and raised in about a 5-gallon tank, and it was time for them to move. Now they've been introduced into this new 30-gallon tank of mine. I'll be feeding them some baby brine shrimp, as that's what they've been raised on, and I'll slowly switch them over to some high quality flakes mixed with some brine shrimp and Daphnia. I can't get over the patterns on them already. I mean, look at the defined marks in them. And people often say these are too drab for them, but I certainly love them. They're beautiful, peaceful fish. They're a hardy fish that you don't really require a heated tank. They do like temperatures of 68 to 70 and above. Now, currently, I did place a heater in this tank simply because the tank's located in my basement, and it's a relatively cool basement. So I wanted to make sure it stayed at least 68 to 70. Now I'm feeding them some baby brine shrimp now, and they're adapting to this tank rather quickly and devouring these baby brine in no time. But because I was already at Michael's and I have a thing for barbs, I ended up, yep, you got it, buying more barbs.
I did not see that coming.
I wanted to put some Odessa barbs in with these other barbs, but I didn't want to disturb my 55-gallon tank. So I decided to get about 8 or so small juvenile Odessa barbs. You can barely see them in here. They're small compared to the rest, but they'll quickly grow and they'll do just fine in here. Currently, you'll see them, they look like a 2-spot barb, which is pretty well self-explanatory. And you can see how you could get confused between the 2-spot and the Odessa. But the Odessa will clearly turn into quite a beautiful fish. And I can't wait for all these guys to go outside in the summer and then come back in the fall, at which point they'll go into a really big aquarium all to themselves. This was just a great experience for me, meeting Michael from Fish EZ. It was just a great outing and all. You know, a nice road trip, getting out of Dodge, so to speak, getting to see some really cool fish, and starting a whole new batch of these young fry. Well, I guess they're not really fry, they're not quite juveniles. Is there a proper term for toddler in the fish biz? If so, they would be toddlers. Anyways, if you liked the video, I hope you hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. Thanks everyone. See you on the next video.